Fuck the Cowboys. And anyways, so speaking about podcasts, I forgot to send you this clip, and I wanted to send you guys this clip, and it just popped in my head right now. If I don't say it, I'll forget about it. I don't know what the podcast is called, but Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan were on a podcast together. I don't know if you guys saw that.
No, but
and they were talking about the Matthew Stafford trade. And Sean McVay asked Kyle Shanahan. He said, "What were your thoughts when we traded for Matthew Stafford?" And Shanahan just fucking had that look, and he goes, "I was told that I had the weekend to sleep. I could go to sleep, and we could talk about it later." And he goes, and then all of a sudden somebody calls me and they're like, "If you want Stafford on the Niners, you need to talk to him now." And he's like, "Why?" They told me I can go to sleep and I'll be good. They said, "I'm telling you right now, if you need to talk to him, you need to talk to him right now if you want him." And then McVay's like, "I'm telling you, the trade went through faster than I did too." But both of them were talking about the Matthew Stafford trade. I don't know if you guys seen that one.
I'm trying to figure out where this interview is because I have not seen it. I've not seen any clips. I would have definitely watched this. I'm seeing some of the stuff. It looks like maybe it's a Ringer interview, but I'm going to go find it as soon as we're done because I find those things to be super interesting. And I do remember that when it was like, oh, the 49ers are going to try to trade for Matthew Stafford. And I was like, oh, shit, the NFL is in trouble. Because if you give Matthew Stafford and Kyle Shanahan a chance, and then before I knew it, it was like, oh, wait, Sean McVay. And it's like, oh, shit. There's actually multiple avenues for the NFL to be in trouble. And sure enough, Matthew Stafford was able to get in there and they were able to win a Super Bowl together. It's like when you have a quarterback who's that talented and really what he's needed is like good stewardship is like of the entire organization, at least the team, like whether or not he has influence on drafting and, like free agency and all that stuff. But you got to at least have somebody there that's like, can keep the 53 in the right spot. And Matthew Stafford never had that. And then he gets to the Rams. It's like, if Stafford can stay upright, I think the Rams are going to win the NFC West this year. Now, I did put the curse on the Seahawks last year. I'm probably going to put the curse on the Rams this year. But I think the Rams are going to be great this year. I know they lost Aaron Donald, but I think the Rams are really going to have a strong team.
I don't think they've lost Aaron Donald. I think there's a little hope that Donald, and I don't know if you saw that Fisk is working out with Aaron Donald now. The draft pick is working out with Aaron Donald before training camp.
There's nobody better for him to be learning how to be sort of an interior, undersized pass rusher because Fisk has got some real burst. Now he doesn't have that same burst as Aaron Donald. He doesn't have the same hand usage. I forget who I was listening to. Maybe it was on Greenlight with Chris Long. I listen to a lot of podcasts, but they were talking about Aaron Donald's hand usage. And I think that's like one of the things that we forget about is like how gifted that guy was, or if you did give him a one-on-one, didn't matter who it was, like you're done. Like you cannot hold a block against this guy. That's why he saw double and triple teams the whole time. But that's
crazy. The first time Mike and I went out to Rams training camp, I was like, "Where's Aaron Donald?" And we're looking out on the field for him, and it's not like he's a big dude. Like he's a small, like he's one of the smallest guys on the field. Like he's only 6'1", when most NFL players are 6'5", 6'6". Yeah. You're like, oh, there he is. That guy right there causes all that issue, and he's like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into it, but yeah, I've heard some stories about Aaron Donald at practice and stuff like that, where it's like they just subbed him out because the offense couldn't get anything done. Even they were like, hey, we're going to double team Aaron Donald on this play or whatever, and they couldn't do it. He was just destroying and ruining practices that way. So,
here's a question, because I've been telling 49ers fans this for a while, and not just with Stafford, with Cousins and with other quarterbacks that have become kind of like rumored to be available for trade. But if the Rams were not able to steal Stafford from the San Francisco 49ers, how many Super Bowls do you think the 49ers would have won by now in the last, 3 years?
If they would have had Matthew Stafford over the past 3 seasons?
How many Super Bowls do the 49ers win with Stafford instead of Jimmy G, Trey Lance, Brock Purdy?
Well, they would have the 2 over the Chiefs for sure.
I think so too. I think they would have won at least those 2 Super Bowls. But here's the other thing that I think me and Joe talk about this all the time when it comes to Kyle Shanahan, is he puts his quarterbacks in some weird, risky situations where they take unnecessary hits, where it's like, and maybe it's not him, maybe it's protection, miscommunications and, center line rotation or whatever those different things are that happen there. But like, I think there's a little bit of maybe Stafford ended up in a better spot because he wouldn't be in that, oh no, Stafford just took a blind side, got smashed upside the head on this type of a situation. Maybe. That's all. I
think that especially in the 2 Super Bowls that they played in, which I think that they possibly could have played in more and maybe one more, but the 2 individual plays, the miss on Emmanuel Sanders down the field by Jimmy G, the miss on Brandon Ayuk down the field by Brock Purdy, Stafford, he completes both those passes. He's done it a freaking 150 times in the NFL, and those were both like the game icers. Those things kind of like those plays put it away, and we would be living in a world where Patrick Mahomes is 1 in 3. Oh my gosh, that
he would have 3 because they would have beat the Rams in the NFC Championship the year the Rams went.
We're talking Stafford potentially that the 49ers could have went on a 3-peat.
Yeah, they would because that Super Bowl wouldn't have been the Rams versus the Bengals. It would have been the 49ers.
Then you think about also, like, they've been good in free agency. They've been good, but that might even recruit just a few more guys to come over, too, and play defense for the Niners or play offensive line for the Niners or play second running back for the Niners.
I do think part of the thing that's helped them win and have this roster that they have and sign these guys is because they have had the cheaper quarterback play. So like some of the roster construction has been aided a little bit from that aspect. Regardless, I just think that Kyle Shanahan and Matthew Stafford would have been a potent combination, and the same reason why I think this year Mike Florio did make an interesting comment saying like, hey, Stafford wants some guaranteed money going ahead in the future. Like, we need to keep an eye on whether or not he shows up and is fully involved in training camp and is saying like, hey, can we work something out? And I feel like McVay maybe is a little bit more like, we don't necessarily want to be tied to you in the future because you're older. And I think we could move on and still be able to build.
Didn't they shop him?
I heard they shopped him before last season. That was what the rumors were.
So this year, crashes and burns in a couple of years, they could trade Stafford back to the Lions.
But isn't it better that the Niners didn't get Stafford? Isn't it better that it worked out this way, that the Niners lose every year and choke every year? It's better for the NFL that we have somebody we can laugh at and talk crap about choking every year. So I think it's worked out because instead of talking about Kyle Shanahan being one of the greatest coaches in the NFL, everybody's like, hey, is Shanahan's legend? Is he going to be like the guy who choked every year?